Whipple Family Misadventures, Book 7, Mischief in Their Eyes, Chapter 1. Without hesitation, Shadow tore down the hallway after his brother, not quite as fast as he could run, but the best he could do in socks on slick hardwood floor. Silver jumped into the air and hovered above him, safely out of reach. He made a face and stuck out his tongue at Shadow. Frowning, Shadow glanced around the living room and saw an opportunity to still get him, even if he was way up there. He ran forward and used the chair in front of their dad's desk as leverage to leap into the air and tackle his little brother onto the couch.
Hey!
Silver yelled, kicking and flailing as hard as he could.
That's cheating!
Shadow calmly pinned him down to avoid getting kicked in the face.
It's not cheating if you use your psychokinesis to go out of my reach.
Yes, it is!
No, it's not.
Yes, it is!
No, it's not.
Yes, it is!
Hey,
Their dad's voice cut across their argument from the hallway.
both of you stop it and play nicely or you're both going to get a timeout.
The two of them froze, but only because their dad's still in his pajamas and not dressed yet. For some reason, his face was covered in a white cream, and the two of them stared back at him in confusion.
Dad, what happened to your face?
It's shaving cream. Now please, behave for 5 minutes.
He took their silence as agreement and returned to the bathroom. Shadow released Silver and sat back, rubbing at his elbow where his brother had kicked him.
If I was cheating, then you were cheating too.
Silver stuck his nose in the air.
No, but I don't want to play with you if you're going to cheat.
Scowling, Shadow hopped off the couch.
Fine, play by yourself.
He said and wandered down the hallway. He completely meant to go back to their bedroom and dig through their comics to look at it again, but paused by the bathroom. His dad had fully shut the door and was staring at his reflection in the mirror, scraping that cream stuff off of his face.
How did you get so much cream on your face?
Shadow asked, confused by what was happening. He had never seen Wade get so dirty before. Usually humans were passionate about being clean, working to fix it as soon as it happened.
It's on purpose.
His dad said, using that buzzing thing to scrape it off into the sink.
I'm shaving
That made no sense.
Why?
because I don't want a beard right now.
Watching for a few more seconds, Shadow realized he was removing hair growth from his face. How odd.
Do all humans do this?
Wade turned his face up to carefully do his neck.
A lot do.
Shadow frowned, wondering if that meant humans did have fur, and they just used those buzzing things to scrape it off. But why would they do that? And also wear clothes? Humans were so odd sometimes, he didn't understand them.
Can I try?
His dad made a noise that almost sounded like a chuckle.
No, you don't need to shave.
As much as Shadow hated to admit it, his dad was right. It had been rather annoying when his fur was different lengths after all the knots that had been cut out and made it more difficult to stay warm, especially with all the snow. While it might have been fun to shave some fur at first, it would only annoy him later. He was about to ask something else when he heard something from the kitchen, and his ears turned in that direction.
What is it, Shadow?
His dad asked, noticing the small movement. Shadow didn't answer and only shot off in that direction. He found his brother standing in front of the open fridge, using his power to hold a massive wave of red juice suspended over his head.
What are you doing?
It's fine!
Silver said nervously, trying to maneuver the floating liquid back into the carton.
I just spilled some, but none of it got on the ground. I got it.
The darker hedgehog watched with interest, especially how his younger brother was barely managing his task. It looked like he was seriously struggling to maintain his focus to keep everything up. He thought about doing something to help and then decided against it.
I think you should.
Their dad appeared behind them.
What are you, Silver?
It's fine. I got it.
No, don't make juice levitate all over the kitchen.
Grimacing, Silver took a step towards them. His sock slid on the kitchen floor, and his legs shot out from underneath him, breaking his concentration as an entire carton of juice dropped onto his head, soaking his entire body in red liquid. Their dad sighed deeply. 30 minutes later, Shadow was near getting only by the fact that Silver was still getting a bath and was rather upset about it. The juice had stained his white fur, and Wade had put him in the kitchen sink, scrubbing with multiple soaps and a lot of grumbling in an attempt to get out. The fact that Silver was so grumpy about the entire process secretly made it even better. Not that Shadow would have said that out loud.
Shadow, go away.
Silver ordered, glaring at him. Looking towards their dad, Shadow offered up his most innocent look.
I was here first.
He said, which was true. He had been in the kitchen when their dad started the bath in the bathroom, until they had switched out here for some reason. Their dad sighed again. His sleeves of his robe rolled up, and his forearms covered in bubbles.
Can you just...
All three of them heard the doorbell ring.
Shadow, can you go see who's at the front door?
A while ago, Wade had ordered some kind of camera for the front porch, and had finally installed it, along with a tiny screen that he attached to the wall at their level, so both of them could see who was at the door without looking out the window or opening the door. It was rather handy. Going over to check it, Shadow saw who it was right away.
It's Tom.
Then open the door.
Huffing, Shadow went to answer, opening it the slightest bit, peering around the edge of the door.
Hi.
Hey Shadow, is your dad here?
Yeah?
When Tom didn't say anything else, Shadow thought he might have been waiting for more information.
He's in the kitchen.
To his surprise, talking to Tom was easier this time. It didn't feel like he had to coax every single word out, which was nice. Maybe it would make things easier in the future. Tom nodded.
Okay, can I come in?
Shadow wasn't sure because their dad hadn't said that he could let him in. But also, it wasn't like Tom was a stranger. They worked together. He decided he would just let Wade handle it.
Okay.
And pushed the door open further to let the other human in. Before he could get further in, Shadow ran ahead of him, skidding back into the kitchen.
Tom wants to talk to you.
From the sink, Silver peered up and tried to make an escape into the air.
Hi, Tom.
Their dad promptly caught him before he could get too far.
You're not done yet. Also, you're making a mess, and I don't think Tom wants a soapy hug.
Hey buddy,
Tom answered and stopped when he saw the scene in the kitchen.
what happened to you? You look like you just committed a murder and are trying to wash away the evidence.
Silver pouted as he returned to the stainless steel sink, and more soap was poured over him.
I spilled a little juice.
More like a lot of juice, and it turns out strawberry lemonade stains his fur.
The dad added, frowning down at him.
We've tried a whole bunch of stuff to get it out, but I don't know if this will come out.
Sighing, he stopped scrubbing and reached for the nozzle and started rinsing Silver off.
We might have to shave it off.
He sat before he wrapped a towel around him and set him on the floor. Silver peered out from under his towel toward Tom.
Why are you here?
Silver, that's not polite.
Shadow didn't know why that wasn't polite to ask. It was a perfectly reasonable question. He wanted to know why Tom had shown up at their door randomly. And it wasn't like his brother had insulted him or said anything downright mean.
Why not?
Because it implies he's not welcome or wanted here. It's nicer to ask what brings someone around. Now go get your gear back on.
He said, giving Silver a little nudge with his knee. An idea struck and Shadow followed his younger brother out of the kitchen. Wade watched as his kids trotted away and felt the urge to sigh again. Of course, Tom would stop by now, on a Sunday morning before he was dressed, while trying to bathe his son and while there was still spots of juice on the floor. At least he had finished shaving and rinsed the rest of the cream off his face.
I'm sorry about them. You need something?
Don't worry about it. I do need to tell you something. I heard from the chief last night. You know that mandatory stage training that's coming up next weekend?
The one I'm not going to, and am going to do the makeup one later this summer?
Wade asked, turning back to start cleaning up the kitchen. While this wasn't how he wanted to spend his morning, he didn't mind too much. Silver still wasn't that good with his personal hygiene habits yet, and it was very difficult for Wade not to want to take over. At least the little gray hedgehog was now extremely clean, and Wade had managed to use the flea shampoo during the entire ordeal. Didn't need to, but just in case. Even with his back turned as he rinsed out the sink, Wade could almost hear Tom grimace.
Yeah, about that, we both have to go.
What?
Wade stopped and turned around.
Please say you're kidding.
To his horror, no smile that said the other human was joking came over his face.
Look, it's out of my hands. He said, and I quote, "What part of mandatory does he not understand?" He said you're going.
Who's going to be here in Green Hills while we're gone?
Eric.
Eric? All by himself?
Tom lifted one shoulder in a shrug.
He's not inexperienced, and the state gets our reports. They know just as well as anyone that the next to nothing happens here. And that chance of something crazy happening during that time is next to none.
Why doesn't he have to go?
Tom crossed his arms.
He already did the Utah State training before he transferred here, and the state of Montana has decided that's good enough for this year. Besides, someone has to stay here, and it's been decided it will be him.
Wade rubbed at his temple.
Okay, what am I supposed to do with the kids for 4 days while I'm there?
What happened to Melissa?
She's already taking next week off because of her parents being in town. And if she wasn't, I don't know if she'd be able to watch them for 4 straight days. 8 hours is a lot different than a very long weekend.
Well, to be honest, I might have to bring Sonic with me. Just bring him and they can all keep each other company in the hotel rooms while we're doing the training all day.
Bring them? What is Maddie doing?
She has 2 back-to-back 12-hour days, a spa and nutri clinic scheduled for the next week with another vet, and she can't change it. It's been on the calendar for 6 months. She'll be too busy to keep an eye on them, so either they stay here and are left to their own devices for the whole time, or they come with us.
Either way, that sounded like a nightmare, and there was no way Wade could leave 2 11-year-olds with a penchant for finding mischief alone for 4 days straight.
Is there any other alternative?
If I think of one in the next few days, I'll let you know. Or if you can find someone else who wants to watch all 3 of them for a long weekend.
Probably not. I don't know anyone else who would want to do it for a day, let alone 4 days straight, and on such a short notice.
Well, then the boys are coming with us. How bad could it go? They'll be in the hotel room and can watch TV and keep each other company.
And get into all kinds of trouble together, or run the risk of someone else seeing them.
What kind of trouble?
Well,
Wade cut himself off as he realized how quiet his house was. Far too quiet for his taste.
Boys?
When he got no answer, he marched out of the kitchen and down the hallway. There was a buzzing noise, one that sounded very familiar coming from the bathroom.
Don't worry, just helping out.
What is that noise? What are you guys doing?
Wade asked as he opened the bathroom door. Silver was lying spread eagle on the bathroom floor, while Shadow was crouched over him, holding Wade's electric razor in his hand. A soft smile on his face, he was in the middle of a very happily and quiet slumbery shaving his brother's fur off, and only stopped when the door opened. Horrified, Wade stared at them.
What are you two doing?
Shaving?
I literally told you no less than an hour ago.
Shadow's smile slipped.
You said no because I didn't need to shave. Ben said he might need to shave the pink fur off. You didn't say not to do it.
At a time like this, Wade could not believe he was being lawyered by an 11-year-old.
That did not mean I wanted you to start shaving him.
Tom came up behind Wade and froze, did a double take at the scene in front of them. Sighing deeply, Wade turned toward him.
This answer your question?
He asked before turning back to his sons.
Give me that.
He muttered, taking the electric razor from Shadow and frowning down at Silver to see if there was any way to fixing the terrible trim job that had been done to him.